Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. It is Valentine's week, and so I'm going to make projects this week all about boxes because I love boxes. Love them. So we're going to do boxes. So this week we're going to do a box for my favorite cakes. No, they don't endorse me or anything like that. I just eat a whole bunch of these little Debbie snacks. To be honest, I only like the trees, the hearts, and I think those are the only two. I know these are like the zebra cakes, but I only like the holiday specials. And there's only one left, so we're going to make a box for that. Now, I know last year I made a box for these, but this year we're going to make 3 different boxes for these cakes. So you can see all 3 of my books in use. I love them, my babies. Okay, so we're going to go in order by when I released the books. So first we released the box template. This is the fold flat box. And I might even have it. No, I didn't have this book yet when I did last year's box for these snack cakes. So let's go ahead and find a clean page. Get our ruler and a pen or pencil or whatever you want to do. And we're going to go ahead and measure our cakes. Now you need to decide if you want your cakes to be flat like this or if you're going to fold up the sides. I'm just going to eyeball mine. I'm going to do it at, let's say 5.5 is going to be my length for this box. This is the fold flat box, so it's going to go this way. I always put my length second. So my left to right is going to be, let's do this at 2 1/4 just to be on the safe side. And then how thick do I want this? It has to be at least 1 inch. If your bags are full of air, you may want to add for that. So I'm going to do 1 inch. Okay. Ooh, I haven't done a fold flat box in a minute because I was trying to promote my other 2 books. So hopefully I remember what I'm doing here. All right, so now 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1/2 inch because I always like my flaps to be 1/2 inch. Ooh, okay. My left to right is 2 1/4. So I need this panel as well because this is the top, side, bottom, side. So I need that. And then my up and down, I only need it 1 time, so 5. Okay. I'm a little scared. Like I said, I have not made a fold flat box in a minute. All right, let's get some pens. Math our left to right. We're going to ignore this right here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. 5. Now let's do our up and down. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So green is our long side. So that is going to be our 1/2 inch and 1 1/2 on both sides. And then our short side is going to be 1 inch. Now we need to get this score line. So 3 1/4. Now we need to get this score line, 4 1/4. And then now we need to get this score line, which would be 6 1/2. Okay. And we'll get the other 2 measurements for those other ones when we make the box. Because it needs to be 1/2 inch and 1 1/2 on both sides of that long side. Okay, paper. And let me write what this is. This is the heart snack cakes. Okay. And what some people have been doing is they just write down the measurements and what it is so they can come back to it later. You could do that too. All right, so 7.5 by 8. So I'm gonna do 7.5 on the long side and 8 on the short side. Okay. All right, so on the long side, because these are very close in measurement, I'm gonna make sure I'm on the correct side. So on the long side, the 8-inch side, we need to do 1/2 inch and 1.5 on both sides. So 1/2 inch and 1.5. Okay, that looks great. So that is 1/2 inch, 1.5. 6.5 and 7.5. Okay. Yep. All right. So now we need to turn it on our short side, and we need to measure or score it at 1, 3 1/4, 4 1/4, and 6.5. Okay. It looked like it was too short, but it wasn't. Okay, so let's go ahead and put our book away. I'll put the measurements in the description box. And let me bend this so you can see these score lines. Okay, so we're gonna start in starting position. Starting position is where you have your 1/2 inch score line on the top and the bottom. So in this case, you want the short side at the top. Okay, so I can't really see these. I'm just folding the score lines so you can see. You can varnish right now if you want to. Okay, so bottom right, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna cut those off completely. Top right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the 4 boxes, there's, you know, a couple of rectangles, so it's okay. I know the other boxes, I'm like, don't touch the rectangles. This is the one that you can touch the rectangles. You have to. All right, so we cut off the 4. What you do to the bottom, you need to do to the top. So let's cut off the 4. Okay, and if you put it back in starting position, you should have something that looks like this. Okay, now we're going to do our score lines. Like there's a score line here, and we're going to cut up that score line. Cut off approximately 1/2 and miter and miter. Cut up this next score line. Cut off approximately 1/2 and miter and miter. When I cut off 1/2, yes, I'm cutting off the first rectangle and 1/2 of the second. Okay, what you do on the bottom, you need to do on the top. So go ahead and turn that over and cut up the score line. Cut off roughly 1/2, miter, miter. I did not do a very good job. There we go. Score line, 1/2, miter, and miter. Okay, so we're back to starting position. Looks like this. We need to go ahead and miter these corners here, and we need to corner round. I'm going to do mine with the 1/4 inch corner rounder. So let's go ahead. We're rounding our pieces here. Now, some people like to round these corners. I can never get it to look right, and so that's why I miter instead. But I saw somebody round the corners, and it was pretty cute. I just can never get it right. All right, bone folders. Now you're gonna varnish all of your lines. And here we go. Make sure you have a nice crisp, what you call them, line. Okay, starting position, fold this over, excuse my arm, glue it shut. So glue, fold over, okay. Now, see how this way it is completely flat? I don't know that my camera's catching it. Oh, you can see it right there. So I did not cut off any sliver off that little thing, and so it's a little bit off, and so when I try to fold it flat the other way, it doesn't go flat, which is fine because you can just fold it flat this way and decorate it that way. So don't think you did anything wrong if it doesn't fold flat both ways. It just means that your paper was cut or scored slightly off, and it still is just fine. All right, so let's make sure our snacks fit. Yep, snacks fit. It's a little bulky. That's okay. All right, so box number 1 is done. Okay, so box number 2, we are going to use the lidded box, and we are going to make a hinge lid because a hinge lid is my absolute favorite. So, yellow book, lidded box template, blank page. Write this down. This is the snack cake, the hearts. Okay. All right, so this one we're going to need 2 pieces of paper exactly the same because I'm doing the hinge lid. Now, if you go back and watch the video for this book, I teach you how to do a regular lid, a hinge lid, and then a lid with shorter sides. So you can pick which of the 3 lids you want to do. Today I'm going to do a hinge lid because that seems to be everybody's favorite, including mine. Okay, so this one I'm going to make a little bit thicker because this by 1 inch was just not enough. I think it was too thin. So I think I want mine to be 1 1/4 thick, just so you're not shoving it in there and like, I broke the cake. I know it tastes the same, but nobody wants a broken cake, right? Especially if you're selling these at a craft show. All right, so the same measurements, 2 1/4 by 5. I'm just going to change it to 1 1/4 thickness. So I know I need to score it on all 4 sides at 1 1/4. So 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 1 1/4. Okay. My left to right is 2 1/4, and my up and down is 5. Okay, let's grab our pens. I don't even know why I put them away, but I did. Okay, so our left to right, we need to worry about our left, our right, and our left to right. So 2, 3, 4, 4 1/2, 4 3/4. Now our up and down. The up and down, we need to worry about our top, our bottom, and our up and down. So we have 5, 6, 7 1/2. And that's it. Okay. Cool. All right, so let's get our paper out. Oh, something's in my eye. Great. Okay. So long eyelash and then I got cold, so I put a jacket on. Okay. Where were we at? Oh, we were about to cut our paper. 4 3/4 by 7.5. I probably should have cut this the other way to save paper, but that's okay. So you need 2 pieces at 4 3/4 by 7.5. And you can get both the top and the bottom out of one sheet if you cut on the long side first. Cut on the long side at 4 3/4 and then cut it to 7.5. I don't know why I was about to put this away. I'm done with my corner rounder. Okay, so we need to score on all 4 sides at 1 1/4. So 1 1/4, rotate 1 1/4, rotate 1 1/4, rotate 1 1/4. And you're going to do that to both pieces because for a hinged lid, they're going to be exactly the same. So 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, whoa, and one more at 1 1/4. Oops. Okay. So at this point, it doesn't matter. For me, it doesn't matter what's the top and what's the bottom because I do not have pattern paper. If you're using pattern paper, obviously you need to pick which is going to be your top, which is going to be your bottom, and make sure you are directionally correct. And at this point, you should probably pick out if you want your box to open horizontally or vertically. And I think I'm going to go horizontally. So, yeah. Okay, well, let's do the bottom of the box first. So I'm going to go, it doesn't matter if you're on the long side or the short side. Today I'm going to go on the short side. And I'm going to cut up the score line, miter, miter, cut off the bulk. Okay. Up the score line, miter, miter, bulk. Flip, do the same thing, score line, miter, miter, bulk, score line, miter, miter, bulk. Okay, this is just your bottom tray. So bottom tray is going to be exact same no matter what, no matter which side you pick to cut on. Okay. I typically do my bottom trays on the long side, but today I felt like going on the short side, so I did. All right, so glue your tabs. You could do 1 at a time, 2 at a time, all 4 at a time, just depending on how quickly you can work. Okay. And here we go. All right, so your bottom tray is done. It looks great. Now, this is what I was talking about, whether you want your box to open horizontally or vertically. This one I want to be horizontal, so I'm gonna cut on the long side. But if honestly, it depends on if I remember that's what I want or not. And if I accidentally cut on the short side, then my box is gonna open vertically. You're gonna be kind to yourself. Nobody knows what the box is supposed to look like except for you. So it doesn't matter. But if you want your box to open horizontally, then you need to cut on the long side. That means put the long side at the top and then cut the first score line on the bottom, miter, miter, bulk. Do the same thing to the other score line on the bottom, score line, miter, miter, bulk. I didn't do that very well. Okay. And then whatever you do to the bottom, you need to start doing to the top. The only difference is because this is a hinged lid, we're going to cut our squares completely off. So you're going to cut your left and your right tab completely off. So cut up the score line and cut it off. Okay. So you should have something funky like this. Okay. My chair is so squeaky. All right, let's go ahead and get these edges looking good. Okay, can burnish. And here we go. One more. Good to go. We're going to go ahead and build our box front. So glue your tabs and put them together. Okay, I did not score that correctly. I can already tell it's too small. So let me find a towel and wipe this glue off. And I need to rescore my box because that is not 1 1/4 inches. So what I need to do is go ahead, rescore it. Gosh, I had this problem in the tutorial that I did the other night too. Maybe I should do tutorials at night when I'm tired. And now I need to go ahead and just cut up that little bit and re-miter. Okay, so for me, the double score line does not bother me because I know I oopsie daisy. But for some people, it may bother you. So if you want to start over for that, you can, but I'm not. Not at all. Because that double score line will not bother me. And how did I know it was too small? Because my tabs did not line up. So your box should line up perfectly with each other. Mine was like this. It was too short. I can't even do it anymore. But it was entirely too short, so it would not line up. So I guess the saying, measure twice, cut or score once. That's a definite good saying for boxes. All right, so we fixed the oopsie daisy. And I don't care that that line is there. I mean, you could put paper over it if you're going to decorate your sides, but no one's going to be like, oh, well, this box is trash because there's a line there. You know, they don't know how it's supposed to be designed. All right, so now what we're going to do is just go ahead and put our lid on our box like we're closing a regular box. And we're going to glue this flap to the bottom tray. And you're going to force it to go all the way down to the bottom. It's not going to want to, but you're going to force it to. And if it wants to, then that's great. You didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes the boxes are okay boxing, and sometimes they're not. Like this one was okay going all the way down to the edge. Half the time, it just wants to give me problems. All right, so we're going to make sure that's glued down. Give it a second. We're going to open it up and give it a good press inside to make sure that glue is adhering how it's supposed to. Okay. I like to pull my hinge back just so it has a little bit more a crisper line, and I'm just making sure it's really adhered. And there you go. Now if you want to, you can take a circle punch and you can do like a little semicircle in the middle, just so you have like a little finger pull. Yeah, 1 1/4 is the ticket. Okay. There we go. Perfect. All right, so third box is gonna, so I call these like a faux pizza box. I mean, it's just a hinge box, but you can do an actual pizza box. And so let's get our third book, our purple book. And blank page, a regular pen, and this is the Valentine snack cakes. I know I call these things something different, all three books, but whatever. All right, so this one, I want it to, let's see, that's going to be 5, 6, 7 and a quarter. And then, yep, I'm going to have to do it that way. So my left to right is going to be 5. My up and down is going to be the 2 1/4. And my thickness is going to be the 1 1/4. And I did that way because I just did a little bit of math in my head, and I think this will work out on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, but we'll find out. Okay, so I know all of my sides, oops, need to be 1 1/4, and my middle bracket needs to be 1 1/4 as well. 5, 6, 7. So my left to right is going to be 5. I only need to write that one time. My up and down is going to be 2 1/4, but I need to write that twice because I need it to both panels, right? All right, let's math it out. My left to right, we only need to worry about 1, 2, 3 numbers. Okay, so 5, 6, 7 and a half by, my up and down should have 5 numbers. There should be 5 uncircled numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 and a half, 8, and 8 1/4. Right? 3, 3 and a half, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 1/4. Yep. Okay, so our green is our long side, and so we know we need that 1 1/4. I need to add to that, so that's 3 1/2. I need to add to that, that's 4 3/4. And then I need to add to that 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. My left to right, it needs to be 1 1/4. That's this scored line. I need to add 5 inches to that, so that would be 6 1/4. And then that should be it. It's just 2 square lines. Okay. Let's get our paper. We need to cut it to 7 1/2 by 8 1/4. Okay. So on the long side, 7 1/2. And on the short side, 8 1/4. Okay. Perfect. I'm going to do it the cheater way. I'm going to go ahead and just mark all 4 sides at 1 1/4. So we're going to score 1 1/4, rotate 1 1/4, rotate 1 1/4, rotate 1 1/4. Okay. Now we're going to go on the long side. Let me get a ruler to make sure I'm on the right side. Okay. We already did our 1 1/4, so now we need to do 3 1/2, 4 3/4, and we already have our other one there. That's why I like doing all 4 sides first, because then you already have most of your score lines. going to fold this real quick so you can see the score lines, because my light is washing them out. Okay, so with the pizza boxes, you need to look at what side has the most squares on there. Those are going to be your tabs. Your squares are your tabs. Typically, it makes a square. So my long side has the squares. So I'm going to start down here. Gosh, you still can't see these. I'm going to go ahead and varnish so you guys can see these lines. Okay. Okay, now you should be able to see them nicely. All right, so we're going to cut up the score line. We are going to miter, miter, and cut the bulk. Okay. Next score line, you're going to cut up the score line, and then you're going to cut up that next score line. And then you're going to miter, and you're going to miter. So in this case, we're only dealing with the squares. We're leaving the rectangles alone. Okay. And then this last score line, we're going to cut up the score line, miter, and miter, and cut the bulk if you want to. Cutting the bulk is not a necessary step, but I do it. All right. Whatever you do to the top, you need to do to the bottom, and vice versa. So score line, miter, miter, bulk. I hope I'm going slow enough for everybody. I like for everyone, whatever your craft level, I would like you to participate. So I'm trying to go slow. And I'm tired. As you already saw, I did one messed up line. All right, so we cut those two score lines. We mitered, cut the bulk. Cut up the score line, miter, miter, bulk. Okay. So, for me, it doesn't matter which is going to be my top and which is going to be my bottom. If you have directional paper, you need to pay attention to that. Mine needs to be on this side. All right, so I flipped it over. Just because I had it on the wrong side, but folded the tabs in, and this is going to be my bottom. So my bottom portion gets 4 tabs and my top portion only gets 2. So same deal, line up your edges. If they don't line up, that means you scored wrong, like I did, and just fix it. It's fine. Okay, so that's that, and this last one. So 4 tabs on the bottom, like so, and then 2 tabs on the top. All right. So 1 and 2. All right, so your pizza box, I kind of, again, like the same, I just want to make sure that that little hinge is in there. Let's put our snack in there. And there you go. So there is not a big difference between our hinged box and our pizza box. They're pretty much exactly the same. It's just the technique is different. I guess I should have did a lid that's not hinged for that one. I can actually show you that. Can see our pizza box. Now, the reason why we would do a hinged box as opposed to a pizza box, it would be the size of the paper, the size of the item. This one happened to fit on an 8.5 by 11, which that's what most people craft with. But if you have a bigger item, you can do this faux pizza box method with the hinged lidded box, and it looks identical. right? So there you go. So that is the box 3 ways. And those are the tutorials. But if you want to stay, I can show you real quick how to make another lidded box. So we'll do our lidded box 4 ways. What I'm going to do though is I'm just going to rip this off so I don't have to make another bottom tray, because you guys already watched me make the bottom tray. It's exactly the same. Okay, so make your bottom tray, and then your lid is going to be the same measurements, just a tick mark bigger. Tick mark bigger. So it's going to be the same as making the bottom. You're just going to make it a tick mark bigger. So I need my paper to be 4 3/4 by 7 1/2. So hopefully 4 3/4 by 7 1/2. But I'm moving it out just one little tick mark. So 7 1/2 and a 1/16. 4 3/4 and a 1/16. One tiny tick mark. So like here's the 4 3/4, and you want to move it right here to this little tick mark. Okay, the 1/16 of an inch. And you're going to do the same thing. We're going to score it at 1 1/4 on all 4 sides. This time for real. 1 1/4. 1 1/4. 1 1/4. 1 1/4. It is the same exact process as if you're making a bottom box, a bottom tray. The only difference is you made it that 1 tick mark bigger. If you forget to make it that 1 tick mark bigger, it will still work. You're just gonna have to force it. All right. So here we go. Cut up the score line. Miter. Miter. Bulk. Do the same on the opposite side. Score line. Miter. Miter. Bulk. Say that in your sleep. Score line. Miter. Miter. Bulk. So as you can see, again, it's the exact same as that bottom tray, except it is 1/16 bigger. Some people do theirs 1/8 of an inch bigger. I just like a super snug box. Okay. Here we go. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I did not pull it a tick mark out because I almost forgot to tell you to do that. So when I cut mine on the 4 3/4 side, I did not pull it out that tick mark. Only on the 7 1/2. Not gonna lie. You'll see it's still gonna work just fine. On the lid, I'm gonna take my circle punch and just do a little finger pull on both sides. So see what I mean by you're just going to have to force it. If you forget, your box just won't go open smoothly. But that's okay. There you go. It still works just fine. And you take it off. And it's great. It's just, that tick mark gives it that extra wiggle room so you don't have to like force it like, whoa. So you don't have to force it like that and potentially crumple the side like I just did. But if you do that 1/16 of an inch, it gives you just enough room to get that lid to make it look really nice and not be difficult for your recipient. So you go. There's your boxes 4 way. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.